It seems that reports of my survival have been greatly exaggerated.
This is impossible.
Oh, I assure you, it is. How? Not how. Why? You were never meant to come here.
We have our orders. Leave the city, radio command from outside the storm wall. They send in the cavalry, we go home.
Hello there, I'm Sarah from 17 once again. This is my Spec Ops The Line, FUBAR Difficulty, video walkthrough. This is Chapter 6, this is the pit. So, this is one of the hardest checkpoints on the game. Not because it's particularly challenging, it's just because it's a little bit unfair. You have a ton of soldiers coming your way, and you don't have much ammo to deal with them. When you pop out of cover to shoot people, sometimes you'll die almost immediately because they're so close to you, other times you'll be okay. And it lasts a little bit longer than it should, so the one thing I would say about this entire fight is get the shotgun ammo where I just picked it up, get the grenade ammo, stay behind this car, and just defend your territory as intelligently as you can. Couple of things to bear in mind where you're going to get caught. People will flank you from the left, so you need to be aware of that. People will flank you from the right, so you need to be aware of that as well. When they land on top of that box, they're going to mantle down from it. It gives you the perfect opportunity to kill them. One thing I did notice on this section is I get sloppy on one bit and a guy flanks behind me, but because the camera isn't on him, he doesn't initiate any kind of action towards me. He kind of waits until I look at him and then he attacks me. And because of this, I managed to put myself in an interesting situation where there's a guy stood bang next to me on the hardest difficulty, but he doesn't kill me. And a lot of it is luck, and a lot of it is because I think the way that the AI works, I think it's a lot like the geometry. Because certain systems on games work in a way where the only thing that gets rendered to its highest potential is what the camera sees, so it's where you're looking at that period in time. The stuff behind you is probably on a lower level of fidelity. Do you see it? Is there. Boom. Goes to punch me. Somehow doesn't kill me. I punch him back, and I'm somehow alive. So just bear in mind, stuff like that, exceptionally lucky. It's all because I wasn't aware enough. And another one, just then. Where did that guy come from? This is one of those moments where you hope and pray the grenade's close enough so it doesn't completely kill you. But it's just weird. I'm not entirely sure how it works, but the joy is you'll probably have to do this a few times, so you'll get a system that works for you. And this is easily one of the more intimidating sections of the game, mainly because it feels intense and you know you're very vulnerable, but if you can keep your cool, make sure no one flanks you like they flanked me, you should be fine. And as soon as you see the silhouettes of your buddies on the screen, it means it's pretty much over and you'll get a checkpoint. But this fight does last quite long, so play it cool, be accurate, be smart, be safe, and it should be okay. The section after this can be quite awkward as well, because you're close to the enemies. They seem to do a lot of damage on this particular section. Oh, that right then. One of the things I hated the most about this game was how slow it was getting out of cover and then going into a sprint, and just the transitional things that Gears and Epic have done so well with third-person shooters. This game is just nowhere near as finessed, so everything feels like a struggle. It feels like it's slow. And I'm playing a game called Sniper Elite at this moment in time, Sniper Elite V2, and that's the exact same. Only difference is it's even worse. The transitioning between cover and crouching and running, it's a nightmare, and it's a nightmare when the grenades are around you and you just can't get away fast enough because the controls aren't responsive enough, and it really frustrates me. But this sequence here, the bridge is going to come down, there's going to be a bunch of guys for you to shoot. After that there's going to be a mounted turret, and there's going to be a really awkward intersection where there's two possible flank routes, and you don't have the best piece of cover, but if you can kill them as they're moving, the only time they actually shoot you, it seems when I was playing, it was when they stopped moving. So if you can kill them on the move, you can kill them all before they settle down and dig in and start returning fire. But yeah, I died a couple times on this section. That's why there was a crossfade, because I couldn't get it to flow all that well, thanks to my own, ability to stay alive. But I do wish you got the Desert Eagle more, because it's a good gun and it's powerful. Come up against cover on this trailer, and when you look around this corner, there's going to be a couple guys here. Just be careful, because once again, if they synchronise fire on you when you pop out of cover, you can insta-die. And it's just one of those things where if you can have the patience to take every engagement a nice, turtle pace, you'll have no issue at any point in this game. If you ever try and rush it or do things faster than the game wants you to play it, it's going to kick your ass. And this moment right now, I throw a sticky bomb at the guy on the gun because I don't want to risk shooting him for obvious reasons. But when he's down, I think there's 2 more guys to shoot, and this is where we get to that intersection, because where you see the fire on the left, that is one area the enemies can flank you, and the other one is on your right. So I go up against where that light is just there, where I was looking. So you'll notice I'm waiting for the enemies to come, but you have to trigger them for it to happen. And the triggering is the hardest part. I don't know why I went so funny then. It's the hardest part of this engagement, because you're committing to being out in the open. But luckily enough, I trigger it just then, see the guy, and then I get behind the sandbags and start shooting him. Be aware, do you see that just then? Very dangerous situation then. I got really lucky because they shoot at my team before they shoot at me. But that could be different for you, so just be aware. You're going to get flanked from both sides. The smarter move here would be to run back to where we came from and go to the original piece of cover. But if I'm completely honest, I'm not the smartest player at times. Every so often I just want to get a section done because it might be frustrating me, or I might not be enjoying that particular checkpoint, and I'll just go balls to the wall. So you're going to be moving forward here, you're going to trip a little engagement, and then you're going to go onto a turret. The key to this turret section is killing the people closest to you as quickly as possible so that they don't get set up, because if they do, you're going to spend more time blind firing and you're probably going to fail. But it's not too difficult, and I've got faith that you will be able to succeed, because I died once because I got sloppy, and then the second route, which is what you're watching now, was very smooth. And I need a drink of water because my throat is slashed. But Christmas is coming, and every single year I'm reminded that Christmas isn't what it used to be, because, you know, I'm not the person that I used to be when I loved Christmas. And don't get me wrong, I still enjoy Christmas. I think it's one of the best times of the year. But if there was a pill that gave me back the measure of excitement I got when I was a kid, I would gladly take it. Because you just can't imagine being that happy or that excited for anything anymore. And I don't know, maybe I'm all cynical and you know, sinister in this lovely world we live in, and my innocence is gone, but it just seemed, so exciting. Really exciting. Such a fun time as well. Because the food is good, the festivities are good, you're always opening presents at the dinner table and all sorts of madness for no real reason. It's just one of those times when you realise that we are capable of good. And we are capable of being happy. And it's not always about, you know, the bad things. Even though for some reason they're doing like a fucking children in need service, which, don't get me wrong, it's a good cause, but the amount of revenue that charities make for themselves, and they don't give a single penny of it to the proceedings that they apparently are supposed to be working for, is horrific. And if people knew, no one would donate. Because what you've got to bear in mind, folks, as cynical as it sounds, people don't do anything in this world unless they're being financially funded for it. They don't. There's no such thing as altruism. Altruism is a disease of the mind. Don't get me wrong, maybe people who have got Down syndromes, they might be a little bit that way, but that's because they're quite innocent in the way that they act because of their ailment. And they are, you know, legitimately happy, friendly, and kind-hearted people. But for every motherfucker else, there's money. There's always money. And it's really saddening because we could do a lot of good. And when you watch these adverts, we say, you know, give £2 to save these people who are dying and don't have good water in Africa, and all that stuff. And don't get me wrong, I think one of the liberties that everybody should get is, you know, the liberty to be kept alive. But it gets stretched so much, and it just contorts into this really strange thing. Because then you start analysing everything. You start analysing like medication systems and health systems. You know, like in America, if you're ill and you don't have insurance, they will leave you to die. They will happily leave you to die. Is that fair? Don't sound fair to me. Don't happen in my country. If that happened in my country, they would get sued for negligence. They would lose a lot of money, and they'd be in a massive amount of trouble. Because that, to me, is completely disenfranchised. That is, you know, they're disregarding human life, and it's wrong. And it's all because they allowed their healthcare to become a business, to become a privatised business that makes a lot of money. And it's just like everything else. Look at the private military corporations, the privatised militaries. They're essentially warmongers who are getting rich off of killing people. It's not a nice thing, it's a reality, it's just how it is. And there's a lot of stuff like that, but bringing it back to the charity, with all the things that I always think is, on the one hand, the spreading awareness, which is a great thing, because I do think it's nice for people who have the money and have the time to donate to fund these people that are struggling, because, you know, they're in a really bad situation, but they've been in a bad situation for a long fucking time, and it's never getting better. And it's never getting better because there's nothing there we want. That's the honest truth. That's all it is. If there was oil, if there was some kind of fucking resource, if there was those bloody, you know, minerals and all the stuff that goes into laptops and PCs and fucking widescreen TVs and iPods and iPhones, then there'd have been a war for some ridiculous reason many years ago, and we'd have gone in, we'd have, you know, become a massive oppressive fist, it'd be a constant little attrition, but we'd be getting the things we wanted and we'd be making money from it. But there's nothing like that, and if there is anything along those lines, we're already getting it, so we don't need to go in there and steal it. And that's the thing, nobody wants to help unless there's fucking money involved. It's not a case of, oh, we should help these people because they're in trouble. It's a case of, how does helping these people help us? And that's how everything works. And these adverts that are doing this really nice, you know, thing of showing that these people are in trouble and hopefully spreading this awareness, I always think, how much did the advert cost? You know, how much did they pay to have it aired out on the network that it's been played a lot and to try and get people to donate? And how much money are they making off that advert? Because the kind side of me believes and hopes that money is then being paid back to the cause that it's funded for. But if you look at the legislation and the laws on a lot of these charities, they only have to give something ridiculous like 0.1% of their proceedings to their desired charity. And it's just insane. It's just completely insane. And the awareness of this is extremely small of how little an organised charity has to give to its brand, essentially. And the awareness of it has definitely come up since the Coney 2012 thing happened, where that dude became a millionaire, had a nervous breakdown, took out his cork in San Diego or wherever happened, all because he made this video of so-called awareness, but people got a lot of money for it. And it spreads to everything. It spreads to religion, it spreads to marketing, it spreads to every single thing that we do. There's always money involved, because we're a society obsessed with this ideal that we created. And I find it very sad that instead of our immediate response being, oh, I should give money to these just causes, instead we have to question how much of this money is going towards their fucking staff do. How much of this money is going towards the tyrants that are in control of these countries that we're supposed to be saving? How much of this money is going towards the police that keep them, you know, oppressed and under the boot and kill them like the stray dogs? You never know where this money's going, and I think that's the biggest cynicism about all these charities, and I'm very cynical towards all of them. And now that they're doing it at Christmas, it just seems to be that extra feather on its cap, and I don't like it. And I don't like it because I worked in a call centre for a couple of years, and somebody came through with third-party charges on their phone. And it was third-party charges for about 15 quid, something along those lines. And the person didn't know what it was from, so I looked it up for them, and it was from the BBC. It was a service charge for donating money to children in need. And she said the amount she donated, I think she did 2 calls or 2 texts, something like that, and I think she only donated about 10 quid. 10 quid towards this really, really good, really kind service to help these people in need, to help these children in need, and she then paid BBC £15. And this was not the money that she'd sent, this was the service charge of the calls that she'd made. And I just thought it was disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And it's little things like that you don't see behind the scenes that are the real evils with things like this. And it's why I always say to people, you should look at stuff with critical thinking, because as much as I want, good to be done, as much as I want people in need to be helped, it has to be right and it has to be good. Because there's a lot of people out there that want to make easy money and want to exploit people's kindness, and it's a shame, but it's a very, very human thing to do. And for anybody struggling on this section here, stay as far away from people as you can, use your team, take it slow, it's really not too challenging. The sequence coming up, you're going to get shot at by a helicopter, and it does do a lot of damage, but it struggles to kill you if you keep running, so you should be okay with that as well. But it just seems really strange, and it's always the same kind of jokes that get aimed at it. Like when they did the video of, you know, people clicking the fingers, and that's how many children die in Africa every second or every time someone dies. And the comedian was like, well, stop clicking your fingers, you fucking idiot. Which is an awesome gag on something that is, you know, a lot more serious than people realise. And things like Just Give a Pound, when they had that really expensive looking advert with Bono and everybody, and Phil Collins, like, if you give a pound to charity, it can help, you know, fund a well for a village for a certain amount of time. And everyone's giving a pound on this advert, and Bono's giving a pound. A pound to Bono is the equivalent of the stuff that you scrape off the bath once you're done, if you've had a particularly hard day's work. That's the equivalent of a pound to Bono. A pound to some people is a lot of money. To Bono, it's not. So, if you're going to give some fucking money and be on that advert, Bono, give more than a pound, you scourgy cunt.